Hello everybody and welcome to World Talks, where every word matters. My name is Don Arleth. Polish foreign minister and his counterpart confirmed mutual agreement with Ukraine that on the Volhynia victims. Now, this will allow the Polish state institutions and private entities to locate and conduct exhumations of the victims of the Volhynia massacre. Estimates range from 60 to 120,000 Poles, which may have been slaughtered in Volhynia in eastern Galicia from 1943 to 1945. This incident has long created a rift between Warsaw and Kyiv. And now joining us here on World Talks is Milan Lilik, political analyst at RBC Ukraine. Hello, Milan. Great to see you again, and thanks for coming on.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Now, this issue has been a top priority for the current, not only the current, but also the last Polish government, and they've wanted to put this to rest even during the time of the full-scale invasion. So from Ukraine's perspective, is this something that finally needs to be dealt with?
Yeah, sure. This is something that definitely needs to be dealt with, and basically it had to be dealt with long ago for this not to somehow interfere in our bilateral relations in these hard times for us. So let's hope that now there is some glimpse of hope that this issue will not be on the agenda, especially on the top of the agenda, and it will, somehow deblock far more important from our perspective issues like military aid and our European integration, as the Poland will share the European Union very soon, since January. So I think, well, this is sort of, I have read surely the bilateral communique of our ministers. This seems to be sort of an act of goodwill, maybe perhaps some concession from our side. But okay, if this is really such an important question for your society, for your politicians, across the political spectrum, we see this not only for the current government, but also for the current opposition, basically for everyone. So, okay, we are ready to make such a step, and let's hope. And now we are waiting for some sort of a reciprocity from Polish side, because we were convinced for a long time that this is number one issue and that this is the main obstacle for our cooperation. Okay, there is no any other obstacle anymore. So let's wait for some, as far as I understand, some technical work needs to be done before the exhumation process will start. But let's hope after this is, even in the process of this being done, some, I don't know, historians, archaeologists, the specialists will work there on the ground in Ukraine. But at the same time, let's hope that the atmosphere between our countries that was not that well, okay, to put it mildly, during the last months, that it will rapidly improve.
Well, and this was very surprising. I think both sides, I think Ukrainians and Poles were surprised at the sour relations last time Foreign Minister Sikorski met with President Zelensky. But okay, so, fair enough. We have this agreement. Now, the idea is that Polish institutions and private entities will carry out the search for the victims, as you mentioned, the technical work, and then eventually the exhumations. This seems like something that is a gesture of goodwill, but also doesn't burden any institutions or manpower in Ukraine. So do you think this is the best solution to move this forward problem, as Poland is pretty much demanding?
Well, I think all other solutions have been have already been used, but for no result almost. So I think that this seems definitely to be one of the solutions. But of course, there should be some technical agenda. So we have made a step. So we are also fairly expecting a step from your side, also in historical issues about those period 1940s. I mean the fixing the monument on the Monastir mountain, which has long been also a demand from our side. I think that this is not a big deal for the Poles, for your government to do this, to satisfy this really very small demand from our side. And moreover, what is far more important personally for me, and I'm sure for all the Ukrainians, that all these historic issues and problems and troubles that are like 80 years that happened 80 years ago, so that they would not be an obstacle for our current cooperation, which we badly need, especially in this geopolitical turmoil after Donald Trump is elected president of the US. No one knows what's going to happen next. No one knows if he will continue US aid to Ukraine, and if he if he will continue also U.S. aid to Europe, to the European Union, to the European security. So I think these are the issues that should be debated on different meetings between our and your officials.
How does Ukrainian public opinion perceive this push by Warsaw to finally deal with this historical thorn in both of our foot? Is now the right time to be doing this? What do people think about this?
Well, I have checked the social media already, because many of my friends on Facebook, they are very much interested in all these issues. Well, I have to admit that there are different opinions. Some people say that this concession from unilateral concession from Ukraine is a way to go, that this is at the very right moment of time, because again, there are far more important current and future issues than discussing than dealing with what happened 80 years ago. But some people they are not very much happy about this deal, about this agreement, because they say that there are only obligations on Ukrainian side, but where are the obligations on the Polish side? Mm-hmm. Again, regarding the historical issues, regarding the Monastir mountain and so on. So there, I have to admit, there are different opinions, but I think that the general public, I hope that the general public will soon feel that the real effect of this deal, I mean the improving of relations, I mean that the Polish society even will perceive Ukrainians better than it perceives now, because we know that according to different sociological polls, the attitude of Poles towards the Ukrainians has degraded during last year or a couple of years. I hope that this trend will be turned upside down, and that there will be there will be real mutual understanding between the two countries.
Right. Well, that's the next thing I'd like to ask you about. On the other side, on the flip side, in Ukraine, how has popular opinion of Poles changed over the last couple of years? Because I know there has been some ups and downs. And very briefly, because we're almost out of time.
Yeah, well, generally, the Ukrainian public is very much in favor of the Poles, because we all know what Poland has done for us during these almost 3 years of the full-scale war, for our refugees there in Poland, and also military help and logistical help and humanitarian and pushing our interests in European and Euro-Atlantic integration of Ukraine, and so on and so on and so on. But also people who are not even very much interested, could not really daily follow the bilateral relations or what is going on in Poland. I mean, usually Ukraine is ordinary citizen. Still, they see the headlines that, this or that Polish politicians has accused Ukraine of this or that, that we are not grateful enough for what Poland does. So it has had an influence on the perception, on the attitude of Ukraine towards Poland, but still it remains largely positive. And I think after this bilateral deal, the trend will go upwards and upwards.
Certainly, certainly. Well, I know my time in Ukraine was treated very well, being from Poland. Well, Milan Lilak, this was a great conversation. Thank you for joining us. Milan Lilik, political analyst at RBC Ukraine. Thank you again, and see you soon.
Bye-bye.
And that's all the time we have on this edition of World Talks. Thanks for watching and stay with us for more here on TVP World.